Okay, I think we're ready to get going. So good evening, everyone. My name is Stacy Crawford. I'm the Director of Economic Development for the City of Mission. I'm also the project lead for the Waterfront. Thank you so much for joining us as we launch this exciting and very important phase of community engagement work that will inform how a revitalized waterfront will become a reality. Before we begin, though, I'd like to acknowledge that we are on the unceded, ancestral, and shared territory of the Stalo people. Our municipality is also on the Kwantlen, Lekomo, Matsqui, and Skalitz territories. So the purpose tonight is to help you understand the process and timeline associated with the development of the Waterfront Master Plan. And more importantly, it marks the start of phase one of our community engagement efforts, where you will help inform what the vision of the waterfront will be. There are a few ways to help to share your thoughts and ideas, and shortly we'll share with you how you can do that both during and following tonight's session. We can't overstate how important the master plan is. This is truly an amazing area of our community, and the waterfront depends, the future of the waterfront depends on us doing this right. Good planning gives us opportunities to manage growth responsibly, balancing important economic, social, and environmental considerations that contribute to the overall quality of life for our community. Of course, doing it right also means that we give residents, landowners, and other important stakeholders the opportunity to have their say. Doing it right also builds community and investor confidence, knowing what the vision of the future, knowing what the future of the waterfront vision is. And it also allows for efficient coordination and investment in the supporting infrastructure that's going to be required to make this a reality. As we all know, this is a very complex and challenging area to plan, but we also know that it's a very exciting area with tremendous potential. Tonight, we begin gathering feedback from you to help determine what is important for our community. And that will help us direct growth, attract investment, and create a resilient and vibrant waterfront. So several months ago, we issued a nationwide request for proposals to identify a firm that could help us with this master planning effort. The outcome of the competitive process identified O2 Planning and Design as the best fit for this master planning effort. So it's now my pleasure to introduce you to Nick Dykstra, who will provide us with an overview of the rest of the team, as well as give us an overview of the agenda for this evening. So Nick, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Stacy. So the team is led by O2 Planning and Design as the prime design consultant, and we are partnered with Applin Martin along with a whole host of other sub-consultants with a very wide spectrum of expertise, which can be seen on the slide below. And we will collaboratively work as a cohesive team with the district, or sorry, the city, to come up with a solution that works for everyone and is informed by as much technical knowledge that can be possibly gained at present. Tonight, the agenda will follow the following chapters or segments. We will introduce the master planning project process. We will discuss site opportunities, site challenges, and then complete with next steps.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Danahy. I'm with O2 Planning and Design. And if you have any questions tonight that come up during the presentation, we really encourage you to submit them through the Q&A button that's in Zoom. If you're in a browser, it'll be down at the bottom. And we won't be answering these live tonight, but instead we'll take them back to the project team and post the answers to these questions onto the project engagement page within the next few days at engage.mission.ca/waterfront. And if you have any other questions that come up after this webinar is over, you can also always submit questions directly on that same site at any time. And tonight we would also like to invite you to participate live with us. We know that these webinars can get a bit burdensome with all these Zoom calls. So Nick, if you go to the next slide, if you pop open your browser or grab your phone and go to menti.com. That's MENTI.com. We'll have some activities throughout the presentation where we want to hear from you. So to start that off, we have a first question here. So go to menti.com, and then the code for this presentation is 56494039. And the question will pop up there, or you can provide your answers to us. So the first question here that we'd love to hear back from you is how often you visit or use the waterfront now. Already from what we've heard through the survey and conversations, there seems to be a mix of whether people use it all the time or don't actually visit much at all, even though they may live in Mission. So if you can try logging on, see if it's working. Yeah, great. Already we can see it's a variety. It's nice to see all of you out there too, like this. Give it a few more seconds. Great. So thanks for sharing that information. There'll be a few more slides like that through the presentation. And the address and the code will be up on all of those. So if you missed it, don't worry. You can open your browser or grab your phone as this is going. And of course, there's also the public survey. So any other information you have or after tonight, we'd love to hear from you.
Hi, my name is Chris Hardwick, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the master plan project process. So first, we should talk about how we got here and the overall timeline for the project. You know, the City of Mission has been preparing for this waterfront master plan for years, building partnerships, conducting background studies, and ensuring council's commitment. The master plan will be guided by the work done to date. The master plan will be a long-range plan that includes specific short-term actions that can start building the waterfront as soon as the plan is approved. So you can see on this timeline in front of you, we're just getting started. This is in June 2021. We have phase 1, realizing the vision, phase 2, developing site concepts, phase 3, finalizing the plan, and then it goes off to be approved by the council and then into implementation. So today, we're just going to focus on where we are right now, which is realizing the vision. So the team just got started a few months ago, and we're conducting technical background studies and just setting up the engagement with residents, stakeholders, and consulting with First Nations. After that, we will start developing site concepts based on what we've heard from our first engagement. And so there'll be a range of different options or concepts that we'll develop and then present back again in a separate engagement phase in the fall, where we'll engage with the general public and stakeholders and a range of groups. And hopefully by then we'll be able to meet in person instead of doing this virtually. And then following that, we will select a preferred concept to move forward based on what we hear back from that engagement, and finalize the plan by working out all the details with a target of spring 2022.
So this is Nick Dykstra. I'm back on the mic, and I'm just going to briefly talk about, at a very high level, the site challenges. I believe the agenda said site opportunities before. We're coming before site challenges, but we feel it's better to organize it this way, so we're uplifting in the trajectory. So we'll start with the challenges and then move to opportunities. You know, the site is very large, and it has varying conditions throughout, from east to west, varying conditions in all sorts of different topographical, infrastructural, ecological conditions that will, and land ownership and in land use, that will inform how we have to strategically move forward. We've, for the purposes of simplicity of communication, simplified or distilled the site challenges into these 5 categories: flood protection, highway alignment, site remediation, railway corridors, and fragmented ownership. These are by all means not the only site challenges, but these are the ones that are quite unique to this site, and their interrelationships are very important. So I will start by talking a little bit about the flood protection site challenge, and then I will speak a bit to some projects that our team, whether O2 itself or our core team of sub-consultants, have worked on that have dealt with these particular challenges. So the flood protection the degree of flood protection is incredibly important to solve and to figure out how to provide adequate protection to the whole site, and also to provide a level of protection to allow all of the desired land uses and development types to be able to happen behind, to really unleash the possibility. Now, any project that deals with significant flood protection almost always also involves servicing technical challenges, and that will be part and parcel with all of the solutions. Where there are more servicing challenges already in place, perhaps more nuanced solutions will have to be figured out, or perhaps more complex phasing will have to be built in. But where there are not as much existing infrastructures and services in place, a more comprehensive solution may be able to be provided. And we have quite a bit of river related experience. We've O2 as a firm has done a lot of the post-flood and even pre-flood flood protection projects in Calgary, involving both linear dikes and comprehensive flood protection area raising strategies. And these both deal with either a linear protection of existing conditions and servicing behind, or the comprehensive redevelopment and new service provisions throughout an entire district. And these both have different interrelationships with evolving economic and market forces. And we're quite comfortable with showing these as the kind of the breadth of different strategies that could be applied to different areas throughout the site. But that said, we also on the team have people that have been worked on the River District in Vancouver, as well as many other projects in the Lower Mainland. The second site challenge I'd like to speak to is the highway alignment. The site is separated by the Highway 11 and 7, and in different configurations and different means, and the ways in which the grading due to the railway crossings and the river crossing comes together will be an incredibly important factor in shaping the proper solution to complete the highway's missing link, to take some pressure off the downtown, and to do so in a manner that best allows for the creation of a vibrant and mixed use and thriving both residential and employment, as well as institutionally, a complete community. So the project on the right is a project that we've recently worked on in Ottawa, which had several provincial highways as long as an interprovincial crossing bifurcating the site. And then we worked very closely with multiple levels of government to ensure that a solution worked for the site first and foremost, while also considering the regional benefits. But in your own backyard, further to the coast, there are many conditions closer to you that have really interesting examples of how high order infrastructure and interesting places can be beside each other. And so we're here to explore with stakeholders of all types to ensure that we can find a solution to the highway that is both innovative and pragmatic, and can provide or minimize, I should say, any negative externalities that high order infrastructure can often be associated with. The third is site remediation. Because the area has a long history of land uses, we are currently undergoing a process of historic review, and will, where necessary, strategically investigate to fill any gaps And this is not so much a unique site challenge to the site, but it is something that can help drive, as it did in our last project in Ottawa, where certain elements go. Where open spaces go, where some institutional uses go. This can play a driving role in orchestrating the overall distribution of amenities and development areas. And this was also a determining factor in our large redevelopment plan in the exhibition lands in Edmonton, where the former NHL arena and the horse stables and a large casino all had their own specific site oriented contaminations, which had to be built in into our, the funding of those site decontaminations had to be built into a multi-decade strategy, a funding strategy of releasing certain lands in order to fund the cleanup of others. So we're very familiar with the multi-phase orchestration of a large site in order to facilitate bringing land that may be initially difficult to bring to market to strategically positioning it to be able to be brought onto market when appropriate. Almost all of these projects across the country also have railway corridors, which act as difficult stakeholders because of the national reach of these rail lines, and your site has the mainline, CPR mainline running through it, but also they offer an opportunity to create a sense of character and a sense of connection to history, and perhaps the most appealing aspect of this is the West Coast Express station being located right here, giving us a departure point for the future heart of the city, just south of the current heart. So maybe I should say expanding the heart. And we see this exact same condition in the River District, not the Diver District, but the River District in British Columbia or in Vancouver, and in where at-grade crossings were allowed because of the lower intensity spur line that was on. And then in East Village in Calgary, new underpasses, which were connected to public art and in innovative lighting, as well as multimodal pedestrian and cyclist facilities. We were able to create a really attractive, safe, and pleasant crossing experience with the rail. And then lastly, and definitely not least important, is the fragmented ownership. There are a whole bunch of different sizes. This map is not communicating ownership about who owns. It's purely about the different size of parcels. And we are looking into this along with all of the cities and the provinces' lands to look for strategic opportunities for certain partners to be brought in, and also looking for larger areas where where there may be less or more flexibility to achieve a wider variety of solutions. But we are really orchestrating in the early stages the notions of what is possible and where certain items on the list of what's desired, where they can go according to the opportunities and frictions associated with land ownership in the area. And this is quite common. A lot of the sites in the Lower Mainland that have been comprehensively redeveloped were previously the site of a large single industrial use. And that is the case in some of the locations on our site, but it is not always the case across the country. And Chris has a long history in the early days of figuring out the entire waterfront, Toronto waterfront, in setting up a very complex arrangement of ownership over the entire redevelopment area, which is now about halfway through the process. And then the same thing is ongoing currently, which we've been helping in Calgary with the Rivers District. So this is just south of the East Village, near the Stampede. And in this area, there are quite a bit of owners and large visions coming together. And we are helping the Calgary Municipal Land Corporation and the other area stakeholders to be able to orchestrate a future that does not contradict, but enables and facilitates those that are currently active as owners in the area.
All right, so now it's up to you guys again. There's a another question on the screen for those that might have joined us a little bit late. If you go to menti.com, menti.com, and enter the code 56494039, you can provide some answers here. So what we're looking for is some of your favorite waterfront areas around the world. What are some places that you've been to that you love? Places that you think the project team could learn from. Nick just went through some examples that we've worked on or know of, but yeah, we just really want to hear from you of the places that get you excited about them. Yeah, great. Port Montreal, Calgary, Forks, Seawall. I know it can be tricky to think of things on the fly. So if you think of things later, please do take the survey. San Francisco, Halifax, Ottawa, False Creek, Granville Island. Great.
Lonsdale K is a great example, and we actually have the lead architect from that project on our team.
Yeah, Pike Market. A few Londons. Great.
This is great.
And makes us wish that we could travel right now. We'll give it a few more seconds here. Great. Yeah, so again, if you think of anything else, please do put it on the survey.
Great. Shall I go to the next slide?
Yeah, I think we're good. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Nick. So Nick went through all the challenges for the site, which they're formidable, and not. And I think he showed that we've come across these before on many waterfront sites. So they're not atypical. But let's focus a little bit on the site opportunities next. So the official community plan Waterfront Vision is that the waterfront is a hub of activities, residences, industry, and commerce. And although the waterfront revitalization has been an aspiration for years, it was formally identified in the 2020 official community plan update, demonstrating council's commitment to build on this solid policy foundation. So if we look at some of the opportunities that council's identified, you can see that there's a wide range of opportunities and different ways or themes that you could think about of all the opportunities that exist on the site. And it demonstrates the city's commitment to a holistic approach to the waterfront master plan. And you can see with this diagram that, all of these things are potentially interconnected, and one of the things that we're doing in this engagement and future engagements is to try and prioritize the public's desires for different elements of these opportunities, and also to look for synergies between them, because a lot of these things really feed off of each other, and we'll develop that out as the plan emerges.
So we have another question for you all. This one is about your waterfront vision. So thinking about the vision from the OCP, these other places that you were just thinking about. What do you want to see on the waterfront when you think about walking around 5 or 10, 20 years from now? What do you imagine? What's happening there? Who's there? What does it feel like?
It'd be something as simple as a nice pathway, or something as large as a vibrant entertainment district with lots of restaurants, or a museum, or, you know, there's no limits.
Yeah. Or feelings. Could be things you want to see, could be things, ways you wish it felt. Yeah, public access, entertainment, historical and cultural. Lots of different types of meeting places coming up. And different sort of connections, movement, boardwalks, pathways, jobs and employment. Great. I think things like this really start to bring some life into what it could look like as we start to pull this together. Some ecological components, indigenous. The more descriptive words in there are great too, about being peaceful or exciting. I think I saw that somewhere. Fun, vibrant. Great, we'll give this one a few more seconds too. Excellent. Thanks, everyone. That's great. It's really nice to see all your ideas in one spot here.
Great, that's amazing. That's a lot of positive thinking towards. That's a good sign of a project that can work together to build a collective vision. So that's really great. I'm gonna just drill down a little bit on some of these opportunities and themes, because you know these are big words, and often the people have different definitions and sometimes don't even know what we're talking about. So I'm gonna just illuminate some of these for you as one by one, and just kind of drill down. So social and community, what is that? What does that mean? It's focusing on community well-being and social cohesion, and basically bringing people together and giving them opportunity to meet in public space and share together in play and playfulness, and make sure that it's affordable and accessible to all, so it's inclusive, as well as bringing all types of people together and thinking about everyone that might want to use the waterfront. And the culture and arts, of course, are super important in creating placemaking and celebrating the culture of a place. And that's important, of course, to include First Nations and their idea of the place and a deep history on the land. And so through the waterfront master plan, we can create a waterfront that truly reflects the history of Mission and establishes a sense of place. Environment and health are really important, especially on waterfront sites where we have some remediation potential. You have riparian ecologies and we have flooding potential, and so we have to keep that first and foremost as an opportunity to not only protect the city from flooding, but also incorporate nature and build ecodiversity in our plans as we prepare this land for the future. And you know, Mission's waterfront is already a working waterfront. It already hosts employment is an important component of it, and I'm sure that the future of it will only increase the employment potential. We're trying to make a complete community here, a place where you can live, work, and play, and employment opportunities will be essential to both protect and also increase as the plan develops. And economic growth, of course, whenever we think about developing land, we think about the opportunities to bring investors and developers to build the city and create more opportunities for everyone in Mission and the region. This will be a regional effect from an economic point of view, and it will be a driver for growth and jobs over the next decades. And achieving the vision. This is the most important part of any principles, is making it happen. And we're going to really focus on creating a waterfront master plan that is truly implementable and realistic. And as professionals, that we will be giving our best advice and making sure that we're not, looking with these idealized lenses that things that can't be achieved. So this is the district will be, or sorry, I did it once. I had city every time. Sorry, everyone. The city of Mission will continue to explore partnerships and investment opportunities with senior levels of government. They've already started that process, and it'll be essential to bring in partnerships to help this happen. It can't happen all on its own. So this will take investors, developers, the people of Mission, council, and all different agencies, including the First Nations, to come together and share this collective vision. And that's how it moves forward, through optimism, like the words that we saw in that vision exercise that we just did with you. So that's what we're hoping to continue, that momentum in this project as it moves forward.
All right, so we have a couple final questions for you here. The first one is, using the sliders on the screen there, how important do you feel each of those elements are to the future of the waterfront? What defines success when we think about the future? Yeah, culture and environment, employment. You can see the different spikes in how different people are responding. And of course, it's going to be a combination of these things, but moving forward, sort of how they get integrated together and in what capacity. Employment very high, yeah. We'll give this one a few more seconds here. Seems to have slowed down. All right, so the next slide then is anything missing? Is there anything else in addition to those four sort of large categories that you think the team should really consider moving forward? What do we need to know? Of course, this is just a short format, so if you have any other information that you'd like to share, please join or go to the website, and there's some longer formats there that you can share. Education. Yeah, another education, Indigenous, traffic, agriculture, aquaculture. It is a waterfront. Human scale, hotels, education linked with employment. Yeah, the utilities and events, and tourism. It's really exciting when you start to think about all these linked together in one spot. All right, we'll give this one a little bit more time too. Crime, mobility, racetrack, financial feasibility, connection to downtown. Great. Well, I think that's a wonderful list for us to move forward with. Again, if you go to the website, you can give us some longer form answers. We're here to listen and learn from you and take all of this information for us to move into the next phase so that it's really driven from your feedback and input and knowledge. So thanks for sharing all this tonight. And I believe Stacy's going to close this out.
Sorry about that, Sarah. Well, I have to confess I was smiling a lot during the interactive feedback sessions. It's really great input, and it's really encouraging to see all of these great thoughts and ideas come forward. It's very encouraging, and also thanks for all the text messages and messages I've been getting here as we've been going along. It seems that people are really enjoying the format, and so I appreciate that. In saying that, what I do want to stress is that provided health conditions are a little more favorable in the fall, the plan is to fully intend to do all of this in person so that we can have some more in-person engagement and hear from you directly as we apply in the fall all of this feedback that we're getting, not only through this session, obviously, but through all the engagement sessions we're having. We'll bring back the design options to the community, and you'll have an opportunity to make sure that we've listened to what you've had to contribute, and we'll be able to do that hopefully in person. And so that'll be the next big opportunity to meet and make sure that we're reflecting the input that you've provided. And so once again, thank you for your valuable time. It is truly appreciated. I would encourage you to make sure that you fill out the online survey. You have until June 27th to do so. And of course, we also encourage you to share the link that you see on your screen with all of your friends and family. It's critically important that we get all of the input that we can. As I stated in the beginning, this is an incredibly important area for the community, and we want to make sure that we do this right. So thank you everyone for your engagement and participation this evening. And with that, I'll just simply say good night and thank you.